performance. Before we begin, the performers have a few requests. Please silence all electronic devices. Please refrain from flash photography. If you must leave, please do so during applause or intermission. Thank you and enjoy the performance.
So this evening, I'll be performing a selection of music with the goal of presenting to you instrumental virtuosity intersecting with poetry and poetics. The first piece I'll present is just kind of an introduction to instrumental virtuosity in that Johann Sebastian Bach's A minor flute partita, here presented in G minor, represents a great step forward for solo instrumental playing. But after so many years, 1685 to 1750 being his birth and death dates, it's been a while. And so when I think of this piece, I think of breaths and where to breathe, but also I think of the frustration of cellists performing this piece. There's a famous cellist named Arne Bilsum, and he performs this piece on piccolo cello. And the problem is he doesn't breathe, because he doesn't need to. He can breathe whenever he wants. And so what I'll present here is an excerpt where I will perform and take a breath, and then I will stop breathing. The idea being, if we can look to the past, can we bring something new? In this case, using circular breathing to not have to breathe. As I look to record this for a solo CD in the coming year or two, my output will be to perform the entire movement, completely circular breathe, just to allow breath to be removed from the equation. So this is the opening of Johann Sebastian Bach's flute partita in A minor here in G minor. With a breath, and then no more breaths. The idea here is to present an opening of instrumental virtuosity as a place point for instrumental and poetics to come together. The next piece I offer is Claude Debussy's Syrinx for solo flute. The idea here is Claude Debussy provides no poetry for us, yet the piece is completely dedicated to a poetic idea. So here solo virtuosity meets poetry without the poetry. If you know about Debussy, he loved poetry, he loved writing it. I don't think he felt as successful at poetry as he did at music, but I present to you his Syrinx in preparation for Benjamin Britten's Six Metamorphoses after Ovid, where the first movement has Syrinx. If you're an oboist in the audience, this is a very playable piece for the oboe and very worthwhile investigating, written here in 1913. This is Claude Debussy's Syrinx. now we get to some fireworks. Benjamin Britten's 6 metamorphoses after Ovid are inspired by specific poems, those of Ovid. Benjamin Britten provides us only a short, little inspirational message from the poems. It's not a quote from the poems, it's more like an inspiration. The first movement I'll be performing from Benjamin Britten's 6 metamorphoses after Ovid is called Pan, who played upon the reed pipe which was Syrinx, his beloved. Before I begin, I'm going to tell you a quick story. When I first started playing this piece in about 8th grade, I didn't perform it for many years later, but my father would hear me in the basement playing it and go, "Oh, this piece, atonal. I don't think I like it. It's not very nice. It's in A major. It's not that atonal. It's very nice." So I was always figuring, how can I help my father enjoy this piece? How can I help somebody, an audience member, have more appreciation and enjoyment of the piece on the first listening as if it's their 10th or even 100th? When I finally did perform this in my artist diploma recital many years later, my father said, "You know, David, I like this piece. I don't need the poetry." You might say, "Oh, Dr. Cyzak's put a lot of time into poetry and he didn't like it." He did like it. The key is he began liking the piece because of the poetry. So the poetry is a device to allow you to enjoy the piece with your own interpretation. And so the poems you'll hear are my writing. I call them a programmatic narrative. Just like when Fantasia takes animation and puts it with music, my goal is to put words with music to give you a mental image. This isn't the only mental image, but it is a mental image. It's kind of like a folk tale. It only gets better when it's reinterpreted and retold over and over again, because that's part of the storytelling craft. So you will hear me talk, recite, play, and recite. This first movement, as I mentioned, is based on Pan, and you will see a dialogue between Syrinx, the forest spirit, and Pan. In the depth of a foreign thrush, a white burn of emerald consumed the hush, for in the creeping vines there waited a forest spirit there soon ungated. And as the creeping roots implored, a dryad's wisp rose from the floor, the caress created upon this earth, a spirit who danced, the dance of birth. So cavalier, and elated with love, she quickly lost her sight of above, as the canopy thrashed with the pattering procession of the goat-footed god named Pan. Invisible to her, but she, not to him. He saw her softly and dangerously hid. Out of her sight, he snakily watched, imbibing her innocence with each glimpse. He stalked. Was peace fast turned to fright, as Pan misstepped and came to sight. Once perceived, she quickly construed. Her bliss of life was soon to be through. And with a volatile cackle from the magic willing Pan, he cast his spell with the wave of his hand. The craft was complete, his will was done, the dryad was crimped, reamed, and wrung, no longer a dreamer who danced to the trees, no longer a spirit who dreamt of life's ease. Now it was clear that by making her mute, Pan had selfishly fashioned his own soulful flute. you get the idea. The next one is the most jocular of all of the 6, I would say, and the most fun and exciting. This is Bacchus, at whose feasts is heard the noise of gaggling women's tattling tongues and shouting of boys. So we'll hopefully hear a nice, pesante, drunk Bacchus, who's very happy, some tattling tongues, and some shouting. This is Bacchus. A replete imbiber full of wine and food, Bacchus was merry, corpulent, and just a bit crude. And in a paltry attempt to cross the room, Bacchus moved forward on a path to consume. Inside all the merriment sat a cackling slew, a gaggle of women protesting their feuds, not with a whim they blustered and berated the men whom their problems were irrevocably inundated. Plodding and plunking, Bacchus moved on to see what fortunes he could come upon, though, to his dismay, his drive was depleted, as children wriggled and romped until the night was completed. Bacchus surveyed while feeling his bounty of vivre, knowing just time to make way to some dreaming. And as he walked, both feet stayed compliant, as each step was enhanced by the hiccups of imbibement. This next one, Narcissus, oftentimes composers I play this for really like this one because it has a bit of an abstract feeling, because Narcissus falls in love with his own image and, according to Burton, became a flower, as one does. But it's kind of difficult because in the music, when you look at it, the note stems go one way to say, this is Narcissus, and they go another way to say that's his reflection. And so in the poetry, you will have me as Narcissus, and you will have me as his reflection. So if I'm talking to my reflection, you'll have a visual representation of who's talking to who as we go on. So I hope this will be entertaining and engaging as we investigate the psychological torment of this poor person as they fall in love with their own image, which I do not recommend. It doesn't sound like a good idea, but highly entertaining when it's happening to somebody else in this example. This is Narcissus. Soft touch of gentle sprouting grasses do much to raise my spirits from the depths. And as I glean a glance of glassy water, I catch a glimpse of a serene scene. delicate a face upon unwavering water. I wish to hold you, but when I do, you're gone. Oh, how beautiful this dream in the water. Oh, how nice it is to feel sane. Thank you for your kind words. You're welcome, whoever you are. Oh, what love it is to feel with my shimmering heart. I see the depths of a mortal, a caress of light which I can feel, and as it imparts me with emotion, I sense love so real. Final of this set, Arethusa, who flying from the love of Alpheus the river god was turned into a fountain. For those oboists in the audience, I should tell you, I do not like the alternate ending that you have to play in the middle. I like going right to the end, so you do not expect any blurbles and blobbles. You're not going to hear any of them. But I do have a perspective on this piece. Britain tells us Arethusa, an air god, who flying from the love of Alpheus, a water god, turned her into a fountain. That doesn't sound nice to me. And so to me, this is a not nice god experience. And so Arethusa is running away and kind of turning from an air god into a water god. And I don't think of that as being a very nice experience. So the piece kind of devolves and kind of breaks apart. It's beautiful, like Ravel's Jadot, but it's intense. So this is the sixth and the final movement from this Benjamin Britten set of Arethusa, who flying from the love of Alpheus the river god was turned into a fountain. Arethusa flew deftly, caressed by air's smooth ease, where each glide lifted only slightly as the wind whispered upon the breeze. To observe this flight would resound your conceptions and subdue your eyes with soft, blissful dreams. Without any warning, this beauty was wrought by a crushing, love-induced disease. river god damned the sky with love by turning dangerous water with the air above. Intention revealed, Arethusa made haste, but swift touch caused transformation to take place, and observing the metamorphosis upon her own skin, soft patches of flesh bubbled so grim, and no flesh soon remained as saturation embraced the arid god whose flight ended in love's embrace. The final piece I have for you this evening is a unique and special piece to me in that I wrote it. Based on Maya Angelou's Maya Angelou's Caged Bird, her poem, I call this piece A Free Bird Leaps, which is the first line from the opening of the poem. Though the poem is extraordinarily powerful, sometimes it's hard to relate to the depth of its topic, and so I offer you the idea. And if you want to look at the lyrics, you can go online and just look up Caged Bird. For copyright reasons, it's not printed in there. But I imagine being trapped. Imagine if you find yourself in a place you don't want to be, or you feel like you have to be there for a time and you just wish you weren't. This piece represents that kind of poem and that feeling of not being able to escape, but still having songs to sing. And so I think that aligns with the poem as well as with the intention of the piece. It's actually based on a 12-tone row, which is then broken and extrapolated through artistic whim. The singer you're about to hear is me too. How about that? So you're going to hear my friendly singer through this box. That's me. I wrote the piece. I did not write the poem, so I co-composed it with Dr. Maya Angelou, and I'm grateful for her estate to allow me the permission to co-write this piece with her. This is A Free Bird Leaps.
A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird. The caged bird stands on the grave of dreams. His shadow shouts on a nightmare scream. His wings are clipped and his feet are tied, so he opens his throat to sing. The caged bird sings with a fearful trill. Things unknown, but longed for still, and his tune is heard on a distant hill. For the caged bird sings of freedom.
Thank you so much for coming out. This has been a presentation of solo oboe and poetry. These pieces will soon be published on my new publishing company, Juxtatunes, where I'll be working on some new multimedia products as well as publishing things. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll be around to chat and answer any questions. But thank you so much for your attention and listening to this exciting music. Thank you so much.